I don't know, maybe I'll use any of this dead burn rooster. Hi everybody, welcome back to The Best Adventure. My name is Travis. If you're new to the channel, me and my wife Cassie take our two kids, Tucker and Emery, on adventures all across New Mexico and beyond. It has been a crazy few weeks. Between Cassie's photography business picking up, my work getting busier, and Tucker returning to school full time, we have been running ragged. We've tried to get out and do a couple of trips, but we just haven't done much filming. One thing that we did get to do was visit some family in northern New Mexico, and on the way we did a quick overnight trip at Lake Sumner State Park. Because of COVID restrictions, they don't allow primitive camping currently, so we had to stay in the campground, which, if you couldn't tell, isn't our preferred method of camping. Since we weren't there for very long and we didn't get to do a lot of filming, we hope to go back once all the restrictions are lifted. That way we could do a full video and show you guys what the park is really like. Another small trip that we got to do was camping in the Gila National Forest just outside of Fort Bayard, New Mexico. We stayed for a few days with family and hiked on the nearby trails. In fact, we actually camped at the trailhead for the Champion Tree Trail, which prompted us to do some research and finding out what exactly the Champion Tree was. Through our research, we found that it is the second largest alligator juniper tree in the world, with a crown spread of 62 feet and a height of 63 feet. The more we researched it, the more Tucker really wanted to go see this champion tree. As always, we had checked the weather before we went, but we didn't get updated weather reports while we were there. And so we didn't anticipate waking up to snow on the last morning that we were camped. This last morning was when we were supposed to try to hike to the champion tree, but the snow kind of made us reconsider. We started out for about a mile and then everybody decided to turn back. Tucker was really disappointed, so me and him decided that we would venture on and try to make it to the champion tree. Once we finally got on the correct trail, a couple miles, an hour, and a few inches of snow later, me and Tucker actually made it to the champion tree. It was quite impressive, and anybody that's in the area, I would highly suggest taking this trail. trail itself wasn't very difficult at all. The snow made it a little more challenging in places, but it just made the landscape all the more beautiful. First of all, let me say that I'm in no way affiliated with or compensated by Alpicool refrigerators. This is just a product that I bought personally for use in my camper, and I have been highly satisfied with the way it has performed. And so I'm just passing along information to you guys. Throughout these little trips that we take, one of the best investments by far has remained this Alpicool C20 chest, refrigerator, and freezer. While we continue to make improvements to our camper, one of the things we quickly realized is that a regular ice chest wasn't sufficient for the kind of trips that we wanted to take. In shopping around, we realized that we wanted something that we could plug into our solar system and keep things cool for days at a time. While this wasn't a major investment, we wanted to make sure we were getting the best bang for our buck, so we had certain requirements that it had to meet. First and foremost, it had to be a compressor type refrigerator. We had looked into the thermoelectric heat exchange coolers, but they just weren't reliable enough for the high temperatures that we deal with here in New Mexico. Man, it's hot in here. Second of all, and I'll say that this was my personal requirement, it had to be able to fit a gallon of milk standing up. For a lot of years, we had transferred milk into different jars and jugs, and you always end up having it leak all over your other food, or water leaks into your milk, and it was just always a pain. So I wanted to be able to take a gallon of milk out of our refrigerator at home, put it in whatever we had, and know that it was going to stay cold. Our family drinks a lot of milk, and so we require that when we go on our camping trips. The C20 has an internal dimensions of 13.8 inches long, 9.7 inches wide, and 9.9 inches tall, which is just tall enough to fit a gallon of milk standing up inside of it. In addition to milk, this allows us to take luxury items like coffee creamer or heavy whipping cream. Taller items that don't normally fit in an ice chest will fit just fine in the C20. The third and final thing was that it had to run off of 12 volts and use minimal amount of power so that we could plug it into our solar system on our camper. The power consumption on this is only around 50 or 60 watts, which really isn't much to begin with, but even at that, it's only while the compressor is running. The compressor runs for about 3 minutes every 20 minutes, so an entire 24 hours worth of power consumption is only around 150 watts. One final requirement, which is kind of assumed, is that it had to be cost effective. We didn't want to spend thousands of dollars on an RV refrigerator, which would be more than we had in the entire camper so far. At around $200 on Amazon, the C20 fit every requirement that we had. There are bigger models available, but what I found is that when you get bigger than the 20 quart size, a portion of it is actually a freezer, which A, requires more power consumption, and B, takes away from the amount of refrigerator space that you have. Alpicool is just one of the brands that makes these small 12-volt compressor type refrigerators. You have Costway and Whitner and Dometic, obviously, but for us, bang for the buck, this thing has been working fantastic. I would highly recommend this product if anybody was interested in trying to upgrade their refrigerator or their cooler in their camper or in their car. This fridge runs off of a regular cigarette lighter 12-volt plug, so you could use it either in a camper or you could use it in your car while you're driving. This fridge comes with a few functions that I don't personally use but could be useful to somebody else. One of those is a low wattage shutoff, so if your battery drains below a certain point, it'll automatically shut the fridge off so it doesn't completely drain your battery. Another function is that you can use it as a freezer, but again, that uses a lot more power consumption, and we don't really need to take anything frozen out with us when we're camping. If you like this kind of content and camping material, I highly suggest you check out Slim Potatohead. He put out a review of this specific refrigerator that is really the reason that I started looking into it. He has a lot of quality content and good reviews. I'll put a link to his video in the description below. I know 20 quarts doesn't seem like a lot, so I thought I'd give you an idea of what we pack in here and how we pack it. So as you can see, you can fit quite a bit in this little tiny fridge. The advantage of being a compressor type refrigerator versus a thermoelectric heat exchanger is that you don't have to leave room in between the items. So you can really just pack everything down in there, and as long as it's cold when you put it in, it'll stay cold pretty much indefinitely as long as the fridge has power. We prioritize the items that go within our refrigerator, like milk and eggs and things that we know will spoil. And then as we go, once we get those necessary items in, then we'll start putting luxury items in, like the coffee creamer or even a couple of drinks if we have room left over. As you can see, this is more than enough room for the necessary cold items for a couple of days. We have a separate area where we keep our dry goods and our canned foods, but things like milk and eggs, bacon, maybe some chicken or some other sort of food for dinner, cheeses, some hot dogs, some snack foods, condiments, and like I said, a couple of drinks at the very end. We have more than enough room to keep us satisfied for a couple of days. And as you can see, a gallon of milk fits perfectly within the refrigerator as it's closed. That to me was a huge thing. This refrigerator has an LCD screen where you can monitor the current temperature inside the fridge, as well as adjust the desired temperature. All the other functions are available on this LCD screen as well, and it comes with an owner's manual to show you those things. Again, this is just my experience with this specific refrigerator. There's other options and other brands available, but I would highly suggest looking into one of these if you're looking to up your cold food storage game. If you're still watching the video at this point, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you found this content to be informative, smash that like button and consider subscribing to our channel for more of this type of content, bringing you on our adventures with us, our tips and tricks, and review of wise investment items. As always, we enjoy bringing you along, and remember that no matter where you are or what you're doing, life is the best adventure. Thank you. God bless.